an audio performance of an excerpt from Scars by Wraight.
You know what they talk of all across the crusade?
Sanguinius had asked. Ullanor's steel-gray atmosphere hung behind the angel, making his rubescent armor shine all the more strongly. The Primarch lived up to his moniker, and his flawless face had glowed with honest amusement. It was not long after Horus' investiture, and the parade grounds still swarmed with listless warriors. It would take weeks just to arrange the landers to convey them all to the fleet in orbit above. In the terrace overlooking the main processional, silken awnings sheltered 4 Primarchs from the worst of the kicked-up engine grime. There, you could forget, if you tried, about the billions of soldiers all trying to find their way off-world at the same time. The Khan, sitting with his brothers, wondered idly who had been given the thankless task of orchestrating it.
Tell me,
said Mortarion, though the Khan could see that he was not really interested. The Death Lord had cut an isolated figure during the celebrations, uneasy in all but his own company. In that respect, the Khan had some sympathy with him. Sanguinius leaned back in his throne, dangling a golden goblet casually in one hand.
They place wagers on which one of us would win in single combat. There are odds. I've seen them.
Mortarion snorted. Fulgrim, the 4th of the gathering, laughed.
That has been settled, has it not? Our brother Horus wins them all.
Fulgrim and the angel looked similar in some ways. They had the same sculptural face, the same flamboyant armor. Where Sanguinius looked as though he had been born wearing the gold-rimmed pauldrons, though, the Khan had always thought Fulgrim looked to be trying a little too hard. In the end, he guessed that Sanguinius would have been happy to cast off his trappings. Fulgrim gave the impression that he would rather die.
That would seem to be our father's view,
said Sanguinius.
It won't stop the common man making wagers.
Mortarion shook his pale head, and the tubes running from his archaic rebreather jangled against one another.
Stupid.
Fulgrim gave him an amused look.
Oh, why is that? Because we were made for different fights,
growled the Death Lord. His filtered voice never seemed to shift from a sullen register.
Come to barbarous Peacock, and see how long your feathers last in the smog.
Fulgrim's silver eyebrows rose.
Perhaps I might, brother. I would not recommend it,
said Sanguinius.
I have seen those chem clouds. I suspect he would stand them longer than you, Fulgrim. Some of us had it easier than others,
Mortarion muttered. Fulgrim looked archly at Sanguinius. An awkward silence fell.
You should not regret that,
said the Khan. The other 3 turned, as if surprised that he had a voice.
The hardship.
Mortarion glared at him sourly. His pallid flesh almost matched Ullanor's overcast, humid skies.
I don't regret it,
he said.
I could regret that only some of us gained our father's favor, though. I could regret that.
Sanguinius took a sip of wine from his glass, serenely unconcerned.
Brother, you should be pleased for Horus. Why?
Mortarion's expression was pinched.
Because he was found first, had the longest to work with his legion. If it had been you on Chthoniya, if it had been me, we might have been in his place now.
Fulgrim sniffed.
Speak for yourself. Being War Master is not the only accolade.
Sanguinius laughed.
No more talk of your Palatine Aquila, brother. You will only make him more jealous. I'm not jealous. Not of Horus, nor of you,
scowled Mortarion, missing the humor in Sanguinius's voice.
You don't understand the problem.
Fulgrim leaned forward, clasping his long hands together.
Which is? While he was leading us,
said Mortarion,
we fought to gain even a glance or a gesture from him. That was acceptable, for none of us saw his rival. Nothing in the galaxy is his rival. Now we will fight to gain a glance from Horus. But Horus is not the architect of this. He is just one of us. It will lead to trouble.
Fulgrim shot a tolerant glance at Sanguinius.
He is jealous.
The Khan shook his head. Fulgrim could be irritatingly stupid.
No, he speaks the truth. It should never have happened.
Sanguinius looked at the Khan thoughtfully.
I thought you, of all of us, would feel joy for Horus.
The Khan shrugged.
He is the best of us. I begrudge him nothing, and I have told him so. But it should never have happened.
So it should have been you,
asked Fulgrim, acerbically. Mortarion snorted again, but Sanguinius said nothing.
I wouldn't have taken it,
said the Khan.
Of course you would have,
said Fulgrim. The Khan shook his head.
I have no use for another title. My people give me enough.
Sanguinius smiled.
My brother, I think you are the most inscrutable of us all. I know what Rogel wants. I know what Rabute wants. But even after so long, I have no idea what you want.
He wants to be left alone,
said Fulgrim.
To shoot off into the stars and hunt down Xenos on those delightful jet bikes. They're devilishly fast. I heard from a contact on Mars, Jagatai, that you do strange things to your ships.
The Khan shot him a heavy-lidded stare.
I hear you do strange things to your warriors.
Fulgrim's slender face briefly flared with anger, but Sanguinius laughed.
I wonder which one of you would win in a duel,
the angel mused.
I would like to see that. You both handle a blade like gods.
Name the place, brother,
Fulgrim said to the Khan.
I'd even travel to Chagoris if you built a palace to keep the dust from my armor.
The Khan felt the insult. It stabbed at him deeply, but his expression never changed. They could never know, none of them, how much their closed fraternity rankled him.
You would lose,
said the Khan. Fulgrim grinned, but there was something fragile in it.
Oh?
You would lose because you would treat it like a game, like you treat everything, and I would not. You would lose because you know nothing of me, and I know everything of you, because you shouted from the turrets of your battle cruisers. My prowess remains unknown. You have some reputation as a swordsman, brother, but I make no boast when I tell you I would leave you choking on it.
Fulgrim's cheeks flushed. For a moment, he looked like he would go for his blade. As ever, Sanguinius's calm smile soothed the moment.
Now, I regret bringing this up,
he sighed.
In the cause of peace, shall we put this stupidity behind us? We are not at war, and never likely to be, and that is truly a blessing.
Who'd have thought it?
Said Mortarion to the Khan, a shrewd glint in his roomy eyes.
You do have your pride, as do you. Then what would be the wager on us, brother?
Asked Mortarion.
What would you pay if we fought?
The Khan sighed.
No, I grow tired of... Tell me,
Mortarion insisted.
Or do you only consider the odds with sword dancers?
The Khan stared back at him. As he did so, he realized that of all his 17 brothers, Mortarion was the only one who, like him, had remained on the utter margins during the Great Crusade. Even Alpharius had played more of a role at the center. The Death Lord was as mysterious to him as the Warp. Intriguing.
I don't know,
he said truthfully enough.
It would be interesting to find out.
Mortarion laughed then, but what could be seen of his expression was crooked. His whole face seemed arranged for dourness, as if levity risked cracking it.
That it would,
he said.
But we have nothing to fight over, you and I. So breathe easy.
No?
Asked Sanguinius, seriously this time.
Not even the Librarius?
The crooked smile faded.
That's different.
The angel took another sip of wine.
How so?
You've not heard the news, then. Our Father has taken the matter in hand. I know you take your creation seriously, but you must know it couldn't be suffered to go on.
Fulgrim looked intrigued.
What do you mean, taken in hand?
There would be a reckoning.
The Death Lord shot a wry glance at the Khan, as though reveling in some secret knowledge that would become public very soon.
I'll be there when it happens. I hope you will be there too. Some fights are too important to to be left to advocates.